Nice. I thought you tripped it that time.
That's about all we're going to get out of it, I think.
Yeah, it sounds a little grimy, let's say.
What is up, you guys? It is your boy John here from Puma Plow, and as you guys can see right there, we have now brought the John Deere 111 into the shop at the farm, into the heated part of the shed that we call the shop. Do appreciate you guys clicking on another on the farm, by the way. And this John Deere 111 needs a little bit of work. Obviously, it needs a seat, and so we're going to rip that off right now. We were told when we picked this John Deere 111 up that it needed a transmission, or it had some transmission issues. So knowing that going in really was not a big deal, you know, since we knew that going in. So basically we are digging in this tractor to get to the transmission, and that is what we are trying to accomplish right now. So, by the way, I'm doing like 12 things at once here on computer, so there's that. Any hoozle-woozles. So, yeah, basically, guys, we had to take the bodywork off of this tractor. And to be completely honest, I've never worked on a John Deere, and I'm sure Dad has tinkered with them over the years. You know, he used to own a lawn and garden shop in town, and you know, he used to own a lawn and garden shop, and he works at one now. So I'm sure he's had to mess with them over the years, but it's a learning process. You know, we've not messed with one in at least a while for Dad, ever for me. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle. How do we take this thing apart? How do we fix it? Now we figured it out. There are going to be some holes in this video, like I didn't film everything and some stuff like that. So there is that. And actually, you guys saw right there, I took a spring off that little rod. We didn't put that back on when we put the tractor together. Watching this video, I'm going, uh-oh. Like when I was editing, I was like, uh-oh, we didn't put that spring back on. At least I'm pretty sure we didn't put that spring back on. So that's a problem. That's a problem. We're going to have to address that. So here we go, guys. It is running. I've turned it down, obviously, a little bit so you can hear me talk. We did rig up an auxiliary fuel tank. We don't know what kind of nasty gas was in there in the onboard fuel tank at this point in time. And we're trying to figure out our transmission issue and see exactly what's going on. Like I said, everybody knows we were told that it had transmission issues. And yeah, we thought it might be the input shaft. We thought it might be some different stuff. Well, yeah, we'll get to what it was here in a little bit, because we do show it in the video. But as you guys can hear, this thing is running fantastic. We have done nothing to the motor. I guess I shouldn't say nothing. We did drain the oil that was in it, which was like sludge, molasses. It was disgusting oil, absolutely disgusting oil. And we actually pulled the plug out of the front of the motor, and then we put some diesel fuel in it and spun it over a few times, and then we put some good oil in it. So yeah, trying to clean out some of the sludge. So here's the transmission out of the tractor. The input shaft's fine. However, and there's always a however in life, by the way, it does have some issues, and this transmission is not going to live, honestly. So there is that. Basically, Dad is messing with where the brake shaft comes out of the transmission there on the side, and this tractor did not have the brake parts on it when we got it, and it's a little strange, right? Well, the housing where the brake shaft comes through was missing a piece. Like, it broke. The aluminum housing broke, and there's a crack in the housing itself as well, and obviously that is a problem. So yeah, that's why we are dissecting this transmission to see if it's going to live or if we're going to have to replace it. And spoiler, it's not going to live. Not going to live. If we had a brand new, like the guts of the transmission, I guess, were fine. The gears, all that, totally fine inside. piece of cake, good to go. But the housing was broken, and because of that, it is not going to live. And I would use the audio from this actual clip, guys. But we had our TV turned on, and I'm standing like a foot and a half from the TV right here. The TV is just screen left, by the way. And so it's like Judge Judy or something. I don't even know. So here you can see where the brake shaft comes through. Since the housing was broken, basically that brake shaft would sit in there and jump. So whoever had this transmission apart before was so kind to wrap basically garage door like cable. You know, the cable you have going from your garage door to your spring. Basically wrapped that cable around there and tried to hold that brake shaft down so that it wouldn't sit there and jump. Well, obviously that's not right. First off, the tractor didn't have any brakes, so if you were on a hillside or something and you needed to stop, that could be a problem. So the whole thing with the tractors, we're going to try to make it as right as possible for future use. So obviously this wasn't going to work. When we actually spun the transmission with the motor like in the tractor, it sounded just terrible. Absolutely terrible. So there's that. Before opening the transmission, of course, you want to get the blue gloves on because the grease inside of the transmission is absolutely disgusting. It's worse than any grease I've ever been a part of or been around or had on my hands. Anything like that. It is absolutely horrendous, the grease inside of a transmission, because there aren't really seals in a transmission like this. So the grease has to be basically extra thick and stuff like that so that it stays inside the transmission instead of running out. And it is just disgusting grease. But there you can go. You can see we got it apart, and actually you can kind of tell right there where that brake shaft comes out. There's a chunk missing. I do kind of point at it here in a minute, but yeah, obviously I couldn't take the camera off right now and like show you guys stuff because my hands are covered in that grease, and I don't want to get that all over the GoPro. That will not be a good idea. But yeah, so transmission does look very similar if you guys have been watching on the farms for a while. That transmission that we took apart last year out of that Murray, very similar transmission, however it is not the same. We actually went and found that transmission back to, or no, we were like, hey, I wonder if that transmission is still sitting around. And Dad actually went and watched the video that we uploaded from last year and was like, nope, it's not the same transmission, which you guys know we cannibalized that transmission to make the can crusher, which we have still not made thanks to the flood last year. Although we might be trying to make that here soon. I'm just saying, no spoilers, but maybe soonish. Maybe soonish. But you can see there's a clear piece missing there. And where I just wiped my finger right there, there's a crack going up in the transmission housing. So that housing is junk. I guess if somebody was good, they could weld it back. I mean, it is aluminum. And to make the seal around the shaft and stuff, it's just better off to get rid of it. So for right now, we're just going to go park the tractor basically out back in the shed. Watch that hood there. Ooh, almost broke it. Saying that is a fiberglass hood, so you got to be careful with the hood. Especially now that the tractor has some age on it. It is an 82 after all, so got to be careful with the fiberglass parts, plastic parts of this tractor. Without the transmission, the tires, the fender, the fuel tank, the seat, this tractor on the back end is kind of light actually. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But there it is, setting out back, and boom, hey, this is like a week later. Here we go, guys. So we have put the fuel tank back in. I didn't film that. We have new tires on the back rims. The tires we think were original, and they were pretty well shot. One of them held air. The other one did not. It had a big cut, and the sidewall where it met the rim, the bead, if you will, the bead of the tire, was like completely rotten and just disgusting because, like I said, we're pretty sure these were original tires still on there. So new tires on the back. The front tires, as of right now, are still the ones that were on it. We may put new tires on the front here soon-ish, just because, why not? So if you guys are wondering, the transmission, we actually cannibalized a John Deere 108, and we cannibalized the transmission out of it. Here you go, guys. The tractor's all back together, and we're going to fire it up. Let me go to actual audio now. there you go, guys. You can hear it purring. It's running great. It is absolutely running fantastic. Briggs & Stratton, 11 horse, just awesome how it's running. It sounds super good, and we haven't even put a new spark plug in it. We did do the oil. The air filter's like a couple years old, but it looks brand new and is good to go. So I'm going to go take it on its maiden voyage around the farm here in just a second, and you will actually get to see that John Deere 108 as well here in just a second that we cannibalized to make this tractor go. Transmission, coupled like bolts and stuff. We'll be going through that tractor, and if there's anything else we can use, we will save it. Otherwise, it'll go back to where Dad works, and it'll get recycled someday in the future there. But for now, it is just sitting around out here. There it is right there. It's pretty cannibalized looking. You guys can tell it's pretty bad. So you got to move it around with the two-wheeler. Otherwise, you can't move it around. So there's that. There is that. But here we go, guys, driving around the farm. It was a little chilly this day. After all, it is kind of supposed to be winter here. And I say supposed to be winter because there really hasn't been much of winter here around the St. Louis area. But hey, that's okay. Going through all the gears. It is the fender shift, of course. Going through all the gears, making sure they all work, and we are good to go. The hood has that duct tape on there. I do still want to work on getting the duct tape off of the hood. Just a little bit. You guys can tell the tractor does not have a deck on it currently. We are going to have to get a new PTO switch for the deck, and the deck is getting some work done to it as well. We will cut grass with this thing this summer at the farm. I'm not going to cut all the grass, of course. That's going to take way too long. But I will cut grass at the farm with this tractor this summer, and of course I will show you guys. There will be a future video, probably not the whole video, but where we work on the deck of this thing. We will be putting the deck back on this thing, and like I said, we will be cutting grass at the farm with the John Deere 111, 1982 model, that is. So it will be really cool. I do feel like a giant on the little tractor. After all, it is not a big tractor. It is a small tractor. And I feel and look like a giant on there, but hey, that's okay. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty snappy, and it moves along fairly well around the farm. But thanks for watching, guys. Another on the farm video. Do appreciate that. Until next time, make sure you hit that like button for more. Subscribe if you have not already done so. Next week, we'll be working in the garden. So look forward to that, and toodles.